I've never been involved in a promotion to somebody to ninth grade, so it's kind of uncharted waters. At the same time, it's something that gives me such great pleasure and honor to be involved in seeing my friend being promoted. I do want to give you a quick history. Bob and I have been friends since 7th grade. In 7th grade, I was walking home after school, and there was a fight in the alley on the way home. So I went to see what the fight was about, and it was Bob Mitchell fighting somebody. They were on the ground, and pretty soon Bob started biting this guy. The guy was screaming, "Get this guy off! Get this guy off!" But not in time. And the guy was definitely defeated. And now, for the rest of our high school and junior high school, nobody ever wanted to fight Bob. He was kind of a legendary fighter. In 1964, Bob started taking karate at a guy by the name of David Nueva's school. I started the same year, but I was working with a high school coach that I had. So Bob and I were at 2 different studios, and we weren't close friends. We'd always nod to each other. We weren't real close at the time, even though in 7th grade I had a picture in the Letterman's Club, and Bob and I are standing right next to each other. That was 55, 56 years ago. But after that, in 1966, we both came to the Ed Parker studio, and we developed a close friendship that's been going on now for 52 years. We fought together on white belt teams, brown belt teams, and black belt teams. And I'd like to point out something that's kind of taken for granted in our studio. At that time, in the Ed Parker organization, there might have been a lot of guys that were fighting in tournaments. But what took place with the team that we had, I'm really proud of that. I don't want to make it sound like I'm bragging. I just want to tell you the truth. We weren't just fighting in tournaments, we were winning. And we were winning pretty much every weekend. And pretty soon, we got a reputation among the Chuck Norris schools, the Urquidez family, and schools all around the country because of the success that we were having. So our white belt team became dominant. Our brown belt team, we were supposed to have tested earlier for our black belts in 1971, but Mr. Parker wanted us to fight one more year as a brown belt because he wanted to win. A lot of people think Ed Parker wasn't competitive. They didn't know in the manner which I know. He wanted us to go there and do well, and fortunately, we did. And we beat the Chuck Norris team. Going into the last fight against the Chuck Norris team, we were behind 3 points. Bob fought their guy on the team and won the event for us. He beat him by over 4 points. We ended up winning. Some of the top fighters that traveled and became #1 in the country were people that we would fight against. Bob fought and has defeated some of the legends of our sport. He truly is one of the top competitors ever in the Ed Parker schools. There are some legendary people that I won't even mention their name now that have fought Bob and end up leaving the ring horizontally. We found out earlier that the opposite of KO is okay is KO. So Bob definitely knows what KO is. I've asked Mr. Bleeker to talk about some of the differences between black belt ranks. You know, it's not about it. I think I'll just give the microphone to him and let him explain a little bit better. Mr. Bleeker?
Hello, everyone. Nice to see everybody here. Another full house. Like Mr. White, this is, I believe, is my first attendance at a 9th degree promotion. And it's a privilege to be here, Bob. I'm glad that I'm here. Some of you have seen my video on Facebook, the pledges video that I talk about rank and our knowledge. I'll see if I can give a smaller version of it, the Reader's Digest version. Our knowledge stops at 3rd degree Big Red. When we first got Big Red, all of the knowledge was in that up to 3rd degree black belt. At that time, we didn't have a lot of rank beyond third degree, not like we have now today. So what do you do after third degree? You know, what qualifies someone to be a fifth, a sixth, a seventh, an eighth, a ninth, and a 10th? It's not knowledge. That's not knowledge. It's in our pledges. And if you read the pledges, you'll find them there. And this is where Mr. Mitchell has excelled. This is where the higher ranks of our art appear. Many of you know his background. I know he was rough and tumble on the tournament circuit for sure, but I think he was rough and tumble in high school, and he was rough and tumble in a whole lot of places. We got into some areas of his life and problems that he no longer has. He's made a tremendous advance in his character, in his walk with Christ, with his family. I spent last weekend, was it last weekend or the weekend before? Time seems to fly. I guess it was last weekend, the weekend before, in Las Vegas with him. Had a wonderful time with him. I got to know him, and I got to know the family man that he is. I got to know the citizen that he is. I got to know the man who walks alongside Christ that he is. He wasn't that way when he first came here. He's made a tremendous advancement, and Genshin Funakoshi says, the ultimate aim of the martial art is not who wins. That's not the ultimate aim. The ultimate aim is the building of character. And that's what we do after we reach our black belts and our brown belt and black belt. We start to build character. We start becoming a new person, kind of like when you accept Christ in your life. I think Bob would agree with that. Both Bobs actually, I think, would agree. So if you want an example of someone who has made tremendous change in their life for good, Mr. Mitchell is one of the prime examples of that. And I consider it a privilege to be here today and an honor to be here to witness his promotion to ninth degree.
As I've mentioned, I've known Bob for quite a few years, and I have a guest who came down from Oregon this weekend for Mr. Mitchell's promotion. Probably, besides myself, I don't think anybody's known him longer. This is my first black belt, my first student from 1968, Mr. Mitchell.
I've known Bob since 1968, both Bobs here, and when I first met Bob Mitchell, I was absolutely afraid of him because I was like 13 or 14 years old. And he taught our group classes as we were kids, and the adult group class. And you treated Mr. Mitchell with respect all the time. But Bob had a big soft heart, and my wife, and probably 30 years ago, she goes, he's a teddy bear. Well, okay. I'll go to that part now, but anyway. He's a great guy. He took me fishing one time. He came to my house, got me at 3 in the morning, went down to San Diego, and went on a boat, and I was probably 15 years old. Remember that, Bob? And I puked the whole day. I didn't even fish, I just threw up all the time. But Bob took me down. It was a good gesture. I mean, he just took me down. It was a nice thing to do. And I think I thanked him for that, but things like that, he wouldn't think Bob Mitchell would do for some of his team. He liked the kids. He liked the kids. And he treated them really well. And I don't think I can have more respect for individuals like Bob and Bob, Mr. White and Mr. Mitchell, I have for these two gentlemen right here. They've been good friends to me. They've always been including in things, and it's just a nice respect to have for these two individuals.
Most of you know the term Shodan means complete. Well, it used to mean complete man, but now we have to bring the black belt, so it means complete person. And Mr. Mitchell exemplifies that term. I've known him since I started with Mr. White in 1972. He was on my black belt test in 1978. And the transformation that he's made in his walk through life as the different seasons of life that he's passed through as he came to his belief in Christ and dedicated his life to Christ has just been transformational. When I first started competing in tournaments, before I even came to Mr. White's school, whenever Mr. Mitchell was going to fight, we would all run to his ring to watch him fight. Because the fights were so fierce and so vicious. And there was one time at one of the Four Seasons 5 tournaments that I watched him line up, and he doesn't even know this. I watched him line up, and there was one of the fighters from one of our competitive schools saw him line up and looked over to the instructor and went, I ain't fighting today. I like my ribs, I'm out. He's a fierce fighter, a great teacher, but then as he passed through life, he just became a very godly man, dedicated to his faith, dedicated to his service, dedicated to giving back to others, and dedicated to his life. And he's just a gracious man, and using every opportunity that he has to let the light of the Lord shine through him and to have a positive impact and everybody around him. So, as Mr. Bleeker said, there's no real material after third degree. At this level, of course, you have to be a skilled martial artist to be able to pass on the art, but the bulk of this rank goes to who you are, what you do for service, and how you serve others. And in my opinion, and anybody that knows Mr. Mitchell, he's the epitome of integrity, he's the epitome of service, and he feels most satisfied in his walk in life when he has served others. So thank you very much, Mr. Mitchell, for your influence in martial arts and me personally.
I've known him almost my entire life. I met him when I was 17 years old. He's watched me grow up. I've watched his kids grow up. We watched each other grow up. I truly consider him to be one of my best friends. I've learned so much from you that you can never imagine. I learned how to be fierce, yet gentle and caring. To be dedicated and loyal. And most of all, how to love your fellow man. And so for that, I'm truly grateful. This is a well-deserved honor. I'm very happy and lucky and fortunate to be here.
Bob Mitchell is just an incredible person. I've known him since 1979, and our kids played baseball together, and we did karate together. I came here one night for a sparring class, and I remember everybody was lining up, and I lined up across from Bob. I figured, I talked to him before class. He seemed like a nice guy. And I never made that mistake again. He was a nice guy, but man, could he kick hard. So I remember that still to this day. But let me tell you, when Bob gave his life to Christ, he becomes a different person. He's a gentle soul. He's still tough as nails, but he's just a great person to be around. He helps everyone. He gives, literally, he gives you the shirt off his back. He's really what something probably ever called him. Congratulations.
I first came to school about 20 years ago, and when I first met Mr. Mitchell, I was scared to death of him. Very intense, very focused man. Like the character of a person to help other people speak about him. My office is right next to Vince's, his son, and so periodically I run into him and grab him lunch. And even at this age, at Vince's age, when he talks about his father, you can hear the pride in his voice. I think that's probably the best indication of what kind of person Mr. Bob Mitchell is that everyone speaks about him with respect, and his kids and his students all still look up to him, and that's because he's earned their respect. Mr. Mitchell, I'm very proud to be here, and congratulations on this very well-deserved honor.
Has tremendous things ahead of you besides today. Next Sunday in Diamond Bar, Bob Mitchell will become an ordained minister. Mitchell, I have your certificate in my office. We'll sign that afterwards. We're going to divorce position. Breathe in, breathe out, tight up. Yeah! And feet together. Bow here. All my love.
All right.
This studio is a family. And one thing about the whole family of all the people that started with Ed Parker and all the way down. This studio has probably got the largest family tree of anybody on that chart that's back there. That's an original chart back there. If I know there's close to 300 black belts that come out of out of Bob White's Karate Studios. And I'm really blessed to be a part of this and watch it grow as it has through the years. You know, being tough, when I speak in different places, I speak about being tough was not tough enough. A lot of people don't really know about that or hear about it, but in the very beginning, I had to have something hit me right between the eyes before I changed my life. And that is when my wife was diagnosed with ovarian cancer with a few months to live. You see, the thing is that I ran through life as my own God, as a lot of people do. You don't have to be a martial arts to do that. And I played that game, and I couldn't handle it. And finally, that's when I changed. That changed my life. I think everybody that has experienced something really hard in life. One thing about the devil will kick us really hard, but if he kicks us too hard, there's nowhere to run, and then what do? We go, what can I do now? And that's when you start listening to somebody that's got somebody to talk, that's talking about Jesus Christ and God, and how God can help us through things. And that's what changed my life, basically. Instantly, I started United Martial Arts for Christ. Instantly, I met Eric Lee at one of the first things that I went to. And Eric, he accepted the Lord, and he was, I couldn't even get around him. I had to run from him because not that I don't like praying with somebody or with somebody, but Eric goes, come on, let's go in the corner. It would be his own thing. We went to Legends, and they were doing a thing all about Eric Lee, and he pulled me into the back room because he wanted to pray. You see, the thing is that changed my life, and my wife, by the way, my wife lived for 17 years. God healed her from ovarian stage 4 cancer, and he gave her to me for 17 years. Now, those of you that know, my wife passed away just a year ago, Father's Day. And he gave her back to me. I have a hard time living with it. It's only been a year. It seems like it was just yesterday. But I know she's looking down on me right now. So I'm fine with that. This studio has the same motto that I use for United Martial Arts for Christ, and Mr. White has been behind it all the way, and that is, it's easier to teach a child than to fix an adult. And that's our motto. It's easier to teach a child before that child is exposed to bad things. And having a place to go to like this studio right here, and look, and especially the instructors who have been grown up through this studio. You guys have grown to a point where the older you've gotten, man, you know what? This studio, the students that come from this studio end up being champions in life later. Mr. White a few years ago said you had this kid, Bill Tolley, come in here, and he said that I had him this big. He was 10 years old. I didn't get a chance to see him, but he was an adult. And he came in here, he said, you missed him. He goes, he wanted to see you and tell you that I changed his life. He didn't have a dad. His mom was raising him, and at the internationals, I took him to the side, and I gave him a very good pep talk, and he ended up taking, I think, a 3rd place. And the kid turned around later in life and came by the studio here and talked to Mr. White and said that I changed his life. I gave him put the confidence into him, making him. He said, "Hey, I'm a champion now. I'm an aeronautical engineer, man. Plenty of money, everything." And things like that is what touches me more than trophies, more than anything else. Every single instructor in here that has been raised up, the older you get, the further you get up in your rank, the biggest thing that you have, the biggest trophy you have, is what you have instilled in the students that you have. And you get more out of it by what the confidence that you have instilled in them. And that's really the trophy in life. The biggest trophy is the thing that you can do right now for your community and to others. When you leave this earth with, I just hope I leave this earth, with people saying, that guy ran a good race. All the way to the end. And that's what we are. We're in a race. Because that's one thing in life that we have is that it's going to end. I'm 71 years old this next Thursday. And I'm not going to live to be 90. Well, maybe, who knows. But anyway, me and Mr. White, we're running a race. And we're going to finish strong. He finished strong. Like I said, this family tree of over 200 black belts. It's amazing. And then they've turned around and turned black belts into black belts. Look at all the international and state champions that came out of this studio right here. But every single one of these guys and all of you guys that won trophies, they mean nothing compared to the trophy you have and what you've instilled in kids and your students. And that's why I'm so proud. I'm so proud of the studio, and I'm just so happy, that me and Mr. White have been so close all of these years. He's been a leader for me when I was crazy. Because he would take me, and he would turn around, and when I got out of hand, he would get me to the side and say, hey, take it easy. Because I would never want to keep quiet about how I felt. And sometimes that's a bad thing. And I've learned that through the years. And since I've had a relationship with God, I've learned that it's better to be a listener. James 1:19, it's slow to speak, fast to hear, and slow to anger. That's the whole, one scripture in life that anybody in here can take is James 1:19. Slow to speak, fast to hear, and slow to anger. And boy, it's hard for me to keep quiet. It really is. And through the years, I've gotten better to be a better listener. Mr. White, fantastic listener. And boy, and a lot of times he's listening to the things that he doesn't really want to listen to. But you know what? That's his job of being a listener, is to be a good counselor. Just like I just said. As you being an instructor, you're a counselor. You're not just teaching these kids karate and teaching your students how to do the martial arts. You're teaching them to be champions in life and how to move forward. By being a good example, you guys are all champions. Thank you very much.